Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we're back again with another war video, and this time it's war 11, I believe. Only 2 wars left, well, 1 now, after one has concluded. And this time around I do have Magneto, House of X, Nimrod, and Falcon. And Falcon's primarily on the team just because he's a solid defiance attacker and he can benefit from the attacking tactic, offensive tactic. And it's also a quite funny story because I completely forgot to manually activate it, and for the first half of the season and the off season, for whatever reason, Kabam had disabled that automatic application of the offensive tactic, so I really did give myself a proper jump scare. I even had it in the assignment notes not to forget to do it, but at a brief moment my muscle memory just took over, and once I, picked my team, and my thumb just automatically pressed enter the fight. Luckily, it did turn out that offensive tactic was applied automatically, so I didn't kind of like completely screw myself over. And you guys are going to see exactly why I would need that offensive tactic in just a moment. So Falcon, again, it's one of those champions that I use semi-frequently offensively, and Nimrod is obviously the powerhouse that is doing majority of the fighting for me. Now, I'm also running fairly low on boosts now, to a point where you can see that I do not have any 30% boosts active right now. And it's kind of like a sticky, stinky situation at the moment in the game, where you either have to purchase overpriced war bundles for those boosts with units, which you don't want to do. You need to buy the Cav EQ bundle for 3,000 units, which at the moment is not worth it by a long shot anymore. When it first started coming out, it was, in my opinion, a very decent, good bundle to buy for 3,000 units. It just isn't anymore because it's been like well over a year and it hasn't been updated, and it's just not that great. Or you have to buy early access bundles, which I have stopped doing. So obviously, as a side effect to all of that is that no boosts, no big boosts. So I'm gonna need to figure out a solution for that. But this time around, we're kind of squeezing by on the medium set of boosts, medium set of war boosts, which I luckily still do have, and it should be, working well enough. But yeah, these were the biggest boosts that I did have. So for this first fight, we have Masochism over time, Mystic Dispersion, obviously Dormammu as a Mystic champion will benefit from MD and the Masochism and everything else. And this is one of the most important things for why I needed the offensive tactic of Defiance. Because whenever I would gain a buff, I gain a buff immunity instead. Basically, I'm unable to gain a buff. So Dormammu is, a trivial matter. You're just fighting a champion that virtually does nothing. Because I gain extra energy resistance, which is kind of cool as well. But you can see that this guy just doesn't want to throw his special attacks at times. So here I kind of wanted to be very conservative as to how far I push him in the power bar. But he just didn't want to cooperate. Now finally I get that first level 1 out of him. And here he kind of claps me a bit on dashback. But it's not the biggest deal there. I did have the Indestructible 3 boost active, I believe. Still have plenty of the 3-minute boosts. And given that there are only 2 wars, including this one left, I'm not too hesitant to use them. I've done a fairly good job conserving them, and I also applied that skill attack boost, and that obviously gave me back nearly a bar, so that does increase the speed of these fights. And here just another tap to finish out the fight. Now that section 1, I only had to do the Dormammu fight, and section 2 I am on path 7 here, as you can see, and that is Kingpin. Now this Kingpin again has Spite and Rise to Power, but thanks to Defiance, Spite might as well just not exist. So I'm gonna apply Magneto House of X pre-fight here again, because in first fight we used it to bypass Masochism. In this fight we're gonna use it to bypass Kingpin's natural shrug of abilities. I did have to use a potion, unfortunately, because I did end up getting tagged by the Dormammu a bit. But, 1 potion, not the biggest deal. I'm doing quite well in potion department also. And now the entire fight quite virtually depends on Kingpin throwing his special attacks. Sometimes, especially recently, you do get that AI. We kind of saw it in the Dormammu fight where he didn't throw it for a while, but sometimes it's so much worse. I think in Alliance Quest, I have at times spent around 90 seconds to 2 full minutes trying to bait out a single level 1 special attack. So, you know, these fights where you have to strictly bait out the level 1s, they are always still a bit dodgy. And given the fact that Kingpin does have increased combat power rate based on how many rage charge he has on, you know, it's a fairly straightforward fight. There isn't anything tricky to it, as long as the AI works fine. And that is honestly one of the scariest things at the moment in MCOC. Right next to, you know, dropped inputs and decks not registering or parry not working. The fact that AI can absolutely toss you over in so many fights, it does make Alliance War much more nerve-wracking than it should be. But everything's working fine. We're getting those level 1s out. Here I still have that skill power back boost, so I was able to get to my level 2s a bit quicker and finish off this fight without much problem at all. And next up, here on the kinetic transference node, I have to deal with Domino. Obviously, using Nimrod, it's not going to be too bad, is it? It again would require me to get extremely unlucky to get KO'd. I will apply this indestructible 3 boost yet again. First one was advanced power boost, I think, but this one just to be extra safe, because this was a very close war up until the point as I was doing my fights, and obviously at the very end of the season we are still in the running at this point for top 3, so I definitely do not want to be the guy who screws over my team, you know, at the very end of the season. I have gotten to 10 charges, everything's fine. I just basically need to throw a special attack and, you know, the fight's gonna be over. I was considering dropping my level 1, but I realized there's no particular need for it. Also, Domino threw a special attack whilst I was in Blitz protocol, so she did get that power drain on, which obviously just helped me to kind of control the fight better. And 1 level 2 is all it takes from Nimrod. I wasn't running Liquid Courage Double Edge, you know, I wasn't max boosted just because I don't have the max boost, but still, 1 level 2 from Nimrod closes the lights out. Now, this last fight that I have to do in this war is, it surprised me a bit. It definitely did surprise me for a few reasons. And number 1, obviously, is I was aware that it has Stunning Reflection and Polka Dot Power, but I thought I should be gaining decent enough amount of power from nullifying his prowesses and his regions. But you can see that for the longest time he just didn't proc anything. And obviously Toad has still a fairly new animation set, so you do need to get kind of used to. So now I got 2 shocks on him that didn't last long, and I only got a smudge of power there, only a tiny bit of power. And we can see that for quite a long while he's just not going to gain any of that stuff. Now, I know I should have baited out level 1, but I decided to deal with level 2s, but level 1 would have triggered the regeneration, which would help me. But still, you can see that there are no regens and nothing's happening. You know, on the bright side, obviously, with or without regens, as long as I keep hitting that Toad, his health is going to go down. And the fight eventually will end, obviously, but the kind of tempo of this fight definitely surprised me, as it was taking much longer than vast majority of the Nimrod fights typically do. I'll yet again push him to level 2, but we can see that he's just not triggering his regenerations at all. So now he used a special attack whilst I was in Blitz protocol, which means he is getting power drained, and I'm just gonna go on and be slightly more aggressive against the wall. Obviously, when you put Toad against the wall, then he does trigger his regens more often, which is exactly what I want to happen as much as possible, because that is when I will be able to throw my special attack, enter Eradicate protocol, and finish out this fight quicker. So once you do get to corner the Toad, you know, the fight does go quicker, because then he has much higher chance to trigger those regenerations. But the start of this fight was definitely fairly slow, and getting him to the corner was kind of like the most annoying bit. So this was 1 minute and 30 seconds, which is incredibly long for a Nimrod fight. Right, but unfortunately the story of the war is not great for New Nation. and we did stumble. We took an arrow to the knee, and we just died too much as a team, and we lost this one, which effectively means that we are out of the running for top 3 100%. We're still likely gonna end up somewhere in top 10 of Masters, which is fine. Not every season everything can work out perfectly, and looking back at this entire season, it started horribly for us, then it went really decent, really well, and then it just again immediately kind of got ruined within a couple of wars, and it was a very lopsided. When we were playing well, we were playing like really well, and when we were not playing well, obviously we just didn't play good enough to get to top 3. So that's how Alliance 4 seasons are, and I'll definitely look forward to having a little break, I suppose, from war. But at the same time, I kind of want to get back in it and get back to that top 3 placement, or at least work towards it. So it's one of those where it doesn't feel great finishing the season. But hey, either way, we still have one more war left. But on the bright side, that also means that the rewards are going to be coming soon, right? More rank up materials, some crystals to open, all that other good stuff. But meanwhile, that is it from me now, and I hope you guys enjoyed this brief war video, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya.
Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the